and how will address the need of the most vulnerable Kenyans.
I'll
Finally,
take that. I'll take that. Okay.
yeah, and
You done
finally
with the
about
question? Okay.
security, ensuring security forces act responsibly and maintain public trust during this period of instability. Thank you, and
Thank you.
good to see you, Dr. Mugina, also.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just take those questions for Dr. Mikuna and actually, and only the fifth one is relevant. The rest of them, the government has had a mandate to do the things you are requesting us to discuss here. They did not manage. That is why people have come out and say, no, it's not working like that. So the mandate people have, some of us, we are paid to do consultancy. So you cannot come here and ask us to give the government free consultancy what they should be doing, that they failed to do it. So what we are discussing now is the way forward. And of course, the last question that you have is very relevant about the security. But otherwise, no, let's discuss this topic first, and then we'll cross the bridge when we get there with the next topic. Abdi, and thanks for your contribution. I think this is the time. So now Dr. Miguna has 12 minutes because I'm not restricting your time. I'm just checking on how many more time we have, but probably Bazuri can go, and then the general can close. Can take the mic. Yeah, Bazuri.
Thank you so much, Marge. This is Kimani. I call myself Bazuri, calling you and joining you in this very important conversation from Vancouver. And I'm so glad that we have so many of us having the same sentiment. Just to put it out of the way, the Vancouverites, the Kenyans in Vancouver, have been very keen on this. I know some people are so divided, especially people in the diaspora. I have noted a trend of, people who are not on the ground have got a different way of feeling things. But again, these are people who sometimes have got, maybe they feel they are safe. But I continue telling them, as long as you have your folks, your kins back home, no one is safe. So here in Vancouver, we are standing with everybody, and especially those foreign heroes, I would call them, in Kenya, by the same bullets that their parents may have paid tax to buy. That was a very shameful, occurrence, to say the least. So I also want to thank Dr. Miguna. I know he knows, he has been a very big pillar to our revolution, to our democracy, because he says as it is, and many people cannot stand that. And this is what makes people, kind of stay on the edge. I want to say that, if I had my own choice, and I was so devastated when the people of Nairobi did not do the right thing to put him on the trajectory to become the governor of Nairobi at that time, but they will have themselves to blame anyway, and they're crying today. So, Marge, I know the diaspora has been very, very vocal on matters Kenya. I want to encourage all the other diasporians to continue with the same sentiment of making sure that we hold our elected members into account. Although, as of now, I do not think we have anybody elected, because who can explain to me seriously that you can go vote for a bill and then come out and say, I'm so sorry for whatever I did. And yet, you people who elected you had said it clearly, please do not do it. So in this case, who has power to do what? And these are some of the questions what we need to continue asking ourselves, because we cannot continue acting as though things are normal again. Finally, well, people may think that this is a Gen Z problem or it's their calling. It is not. This is an idea. And as they say, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. We have to do whatever we have to do. Our grandfathers did whatever they did with the colonialists, and they're out there. Although they left the legacy, whatever they left, the continuation of colonization in our heads. This time round, we are more aware. Our consciousness is more alert, and we must not go through that route again. And I join hands, say, Kenyan government, And everybody who is associated with that, it is rotten to the core, and it has to be disbanded. And we have to constitute the IABC or call other organizations or unions within Africa and the globe to come and help us reconstitute and bring to power or to the leadership, I may say, leaders with conscience, leaders that are going to be listening to the people and who mind the people who are in Kenya and not minding the tumbocrats that are in Washington, D.C. and other places. Thank you so much, Marge, and we shall continue with the fight.
Thanks so much.
Right.
Sorry, go on, Hilary.
No, thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you much. I know, Bazuri. I know there's a lot of requests, and I know Daktari want to give maybe his final remarks. But I want to say that we will not close the space, because Daktari is engaged on some other issues. When he goes, we'll still go on to ask more questions. Then those questions I will make sure that he has them. So in our next session, he will come and answer them. The one that is relevant. I think that's the way forward, Marge.
Thank you. Yes. So after he leaves, we are going to have like more of questions for Dr. Miguna. There is a complaint that so far there are a lot of diasporans in the panel, and not Kenyans in Kenya. And the last Kenyan in Kenya we had speaking here came to just attack. But academia is a Kenyan living in Kenya. And Mutho, I think you too. But let's have academia speak. And Mutho, if you guys take 2 minutes each. Mutho, if you're not in Kenya, you need to give a priority to somebody who's in Kenya. And then Daktari will close. Academia, 2 minutes, please. Can you hear me, Hilary?
I can hear you, but Academia, your mic is off. I don't know what is happening.
Okay, Mutho, let's go. Okay, so now those two.
Can give a Chieng. You can give a
Achieng, are
Chieng.
you
I
in
think
Kenya?
she's an advocate.
Yes, hi. Thank you. I can speak if given the opportunity.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
First of all, this is just to thank you guys for this platform, and to Dr. Miguna and to our seniors also. I've heard Willie speaking. We were in a similar platform in the morning, but that one was actually hosted by the Gen Zs and the millennial. And I'd really want to tell Kenyans, as in Seawater, this thing is purely organic, because the things Miguna is echoing are the same things that Willis echoed in the morning. I've watched, and so sorry, I had to watch the interview by President Ruto. Na guys, nachemka bana, nachemka. The things this man is saying on TV as a president should not sit in office. He's justifying the abductions. He's justifying how Keter was aimlessly manhandled in broad daylight. So all I want to say to Kenyans is, last time when they saw this kind of unity, there was a live Twitter space, and all of a sudden we just saw some infiltration, and then people started tweeting different things. And the following Mandamano, true, there was the fear of the military, but also people didn't show up because there was a divide and rule tactic. But for Tuesday, guys, if you are in this space, thank you. At least your level of anger is not like us who watched that interview from the beginning to the end, because I can tell you we are boiling. Your Tuesday, by the way, Nimbali. Na your Tuesday kifika, let us all get out. Let us all protect our democratic right. I heard Ruto saying that he's operating under the rule of law when he was asked by Linus and the team, what if people want him to step down? And I can tell you, and as Winguna said, and as Willie said, and I'm speaking as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, the power belongs to the people of Kenya under Article 1 of the Constitution. There's no time we will get any other chance like this. He said he's willing to come to Sweet Twitter space and talk. We don't want those talks of his. He should act, and his time to act has gone. Let's just rally up each other Tuesday, sisi kwa sisi, because if we don't show up, if they can abduct Keter like that, us minors, what are they going to do to us? It's really a saddening situation, and I'd really appreciate if all Kenyans wake up to this, regardless of our tribe. And it's good we are tribeless, and yeah, we are tribeless, and we speak the same language. So I'm really grateful. Kenyans, Tuesday ni sisi na hao, tusisahau.
Sawa Chieng. Imagine before you, huyu Tom Mboya, daktari, patia tu Tom Mboya Junior aseme kitu, amenunua mikono.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, and I greet you, fellow Kenyans. Thank you for the opportunity. I have two quick questions for the general. It's so unfortunate that his time has gone, but the question is, first, I wanted to ask about his comment on foreign interference, and indeed he confirmed that it is there. Now, we all agree on a total overhaul of the system through a popular revolution. Once we succeed in this, my question is that what do we do so that we evade the foreign interference, knowing that even if we succeed, they can go direct to the president. And the ultimate goal, if the president is of high integrity, courageous, and of high discipline, they will kill the president, as they did to Sankara and many other people. How do we evade? And another thing, the constitution that we are using, knowing that it is the right constitution and it has good system, only that the people that have been in power are not following the constitution. Because I believe the constitution is colonial, do we consider coming up with a new constitution? Or if we are going to use the same constitution, how do we maneuver so that we operate through an African system of governance without colonial interference? Question to Daktari. Thank you.
Very good question. As we hand over the mic to Daktari, and I said he's gonna come. Yeah, go on.
Thank you very much, and I thank everybody. I thank all the contributors. It's a Sunday, so people have taken their time. All the comments, all the questions are all on point. I want to say Willis hit it right on point on everything. Just to tell you, Willis is the one that we did the drafting of the oath with, and who brought me the stand when Raila had already chickened out and could not even be seen. So these are people that have been in the struggle for a long time. The only thing is that they disappeared with me, and I think for a period of time they may have compromised Willis, but that's for another day. So I thank Willis for his insight, which are all on point. Aching was also quite on point, and everybody else. Let me start by saying, do not buy fear. That's what they want. The first thing that you do, forget about fear. Do not think about their abductions or whatever, and tell them you're not scared of them. That disarms them completely. Ruto now is exposed and is terrified. That is why he had his tweet. That's why he had a hastily convened media briefing at State House. This is somebody I know. He's been scared of me since University of Nairobi. So I know, as a person, he's scared of me naturally. And he knows I don't scare him. I'm not scared of him. Ruto is empty. He has no ideology. He has no philosophy of life. He has no morals. He's a psychopath. He must be removed. We have to keep saying that. We donated power to him, and we have withdrawn it. And he has to vacate the space. That space belongs to us. State House is a public space. It does not belong to William Ruto. Number two, we have to be cognizant of the fact that the army will not shoot 10 million people on the streets. So we have to turn out in large numbers and ensure that the army understands that they work for the people. They don't work for William Ruto. And they do understand that. The police already understands that, even though they have been brutal. And we must keep a record of each and every abductant, each and every murderer that we have been able to take pictures of. Almost everybody has a phone. Almost everybody has a camera on those phones. Use them. Use them effectively. Let's expose them. Let's keep a catalog. and let's punish them after we have removed William Ruto. Number 3, Kenyans in the diaspora, be vibrant, be people who contribute towards the struggle. Your contributions are going to be 3. 1, send whatever material support that is needed on the streets. Number 2, bombard the embassy of the West. Please, 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 turn off your mic.
Please, off your mic.
Bombard the embassies of the West. Bombard Washington, bombard Ottawa, bombard Berlin, bombard London, all of them. Bombard the prime ministers and the presidents of the West. Tell them they cannot stand with William Ruto. Write emails, call their offices, or tweet or post on their walls. Just harass them every single day until they get the message. This is how we managed to get boycott against apartheid regime in South Africa and crippled it and brought it to its knees. This is how we managed to cripple Moi and Mobutu and the rest of them. Dictators have been there and they have always supported dictators, and we have always brought dictators down. Ruto is not going to be different. So let us do that. Number 3, and this is very important. I had somebody grudge about the diaspora involvement. Can we mute everybody? So that
yes, let me do that, because you're spitting important points. That's why whoever was trying to tamper is now really sweating and increasing the intensity of tampering with the space here, because so far everyone
who is this guy called God, the God who has not been, and even Abdi and the rest. I mean, let's just mute. Let's mute ourselves when other people.
They are muted.
They're muted now. Please continue.
If you open up your mic, we're gonna remove you from the space, guys. Mute your mic. Go on, Dr.
So I was saying, people are grudging about the diaspora without understanding that the diaspora sends more money than the Ministry of Tourism generates. And in many countries like Italy and other countries, there is a Ministry of the Diaspora because of the remittance. Diasporans are Kenyans. And Somalia is run by diaspora. Easily, the entire Easily is diaspora money. So diaspora is important. But diaspora have to do more than that. In Liberia in Algeria between 1954 to 1962, they have the war of liberation against the French colonialism. And the most critical point and important point I want to draw here is that during the war, which was led by the Algerian Liberation Front, ALFA, the media that was recording and cataloging the struggle and boosting the morale of the liberation fighters against colonialism was actually not Algerian. The media and the cameras and the individuals that were doing this were from Yugoslavia, sent by a man called Tito, who was the president then. He was supporting the Algerian Liberation Front and the movement for liberation against the French colonialism. All the radios during the struggle against colonialism in South Africa, in Mozambique, in Angola, in Zimbabwe, all those radios were operating from Tanzania. They were not operating from these countries. The liberation movement in Namibia, the radio stations were in Tanzania. Tanzania was the one supporting the frontline states. In other words, there is no liberation movement, there is no revolution that has been won by people who are fighting internally only. If you try to do that, they simply come at night, They pick you up, and there will be no X space. So the X spaces may have to be even moderated from abroad so that they don't arrest the people doing them. This is very important, and we must all get this. This is a struggle for everyone. We cannot segment ourselves. We cannot be parochial and hope that we will win. So William Ruto and his imperial handlers will try to shut you down. They will make the internet slow, or they will simply switch it off. But if the X spaces and everything else is being beamed from outside, they cannot tamper with them. That is something we have to put in our heads, and we should not forget. So the diaspora, play your role fully. Let Ruto feel your weight. The third point, foreign interference. There will always be foreign interference or attempts to interfere. But as I said, if we are using the software of integrity, and if we are using the true, genuine, revolutionary methods of transforming a society, they will not be able to interfere. They will have to play ball with us. How come they have not interfered in China? How come they can't interfere with Putin in Russia? How come, countries have been liberated? Look, they have blockaded Eritrea for the last 30 years, and they have not been able to overthrow that government. And Eritrea is cleaner than Ethiopia that they have interfered with. So yes, you can block the West and you can survive. The West does not own the world. They will have to do deals with us on our terms. Some of their debts we will not pay, and they will have to write them off. Those are the demands we will make. And if they don't like it, we close their bases, they go back, and there is nothing they can do. All right. The next one, a new constitution. We don't need a new constitution. If we do need a new constitution, we will figure it out after removing this regime. What we need now is to remove this regime under clause 1 of the current constitution, so that nobody accuses us of acting extra constitutionally or extra legally, or doing things that are not within the law. This is the reason they could not arrest me in 2018, up to 2022, even up to now, because they knew that everything was anchored under clause 1 of the Constitution. We have a right to reject a government that has lost its legitimacy. That's our right. Nobody can accuse us in court because we are doing exactly what we should do. So no, let's not digress. Let's not be diverted to sub-issues about constitutions and whatnot. Finally, I want to leave here on a high note. I want to leave here with something tangible, things that are tangible we are doing. So number 1, all we need to do is ask for William Ruto to resign with this entire regime. So William Ruto must go, together with everybody else. A singular demand. It cannot be confused, it cannot be diverted, it cannot be diluted. Let's leave all those laundry lists to NIS and people they have compromised, who are not interested in total liberation. We did not come this far. Ruto did not kill all the people he killed in the CBD, in Githurai, and yesterday outside Nairobi there. He did not kill all these people so that we can close shop with the tail between our legs and run away. Ruto should feel our weight, the weight of Kenyans. So number 2, after Ruto must go together with all his regime, you must boycott Western Hotel. It belongs to us anyway, but before we take it back, nobody should go to Western. I think the country should say Western should be closed. It should be closed to business. Amaco Insurance should not be operating. Let's start with Ruto's businesses. Let's boycott all of them before we move to anybody else. Because these are the companies he's using to siphon money from public coffers, and these are the places, the hiding places of his looters. So let's cripple him financially before we even remove him from State House, or as we remove him from State House. So we have to be very, very clear. Let's not go to MPs yet, because the moment the government is dissolved and we have a transitional authority, everybody comes home. The MCS come home, the MPs come home, and everybody else. All these people who have been supporting Finance Bill 2024 are not going back. So we have solved one problem in one fell swoop. We don't have to recall them one by one. We don't have to reconstitute the IBC. The IBC will be reconstituted within 2 weeks of us removing Ruto from power. So let's not digress to details that are not necessary. I thank you very much for listening to me. I thank you very much for the sacrifice or sacrifices, for the solidarity, for the support towards a total liberation of Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari. And as much come in, thank you so much for finding time. And also, when we scheduled it, you said that yes, you would like to address these people. And if you can confirm to Kenyans that this is just the beginning of the conversation, we can do it again on Saturday after that Tuesday and Thursday. We can do a follow up of the same.
Exactly. I am, of course, I'm in this 100%. In
All
fact,
right,
1,000%.
guys. After this,
So let's continue the struggle. Luta continua. Viva.
we are scheduling another
No,
space.
we'll schedule in the course of the week. But right now, let's mobilize everybody for this week. Let's turn out in our numbers. Let's turn out in our millions. And let's be focused. Let's be disciplined. Let's be peaceful. Let's address Ruto in one voice, that he must leave with his entire administration.
Thank you so much, Dr.
And please don't call him president.
Yeah, I'm so humbled for your time. I know more than 3 hours, and also we want to say that thank you so much. And also, members, we are not leaving. We want all these people who have a request merge so that they can share their questions. Then we keep them for Daktari. We can share with them throughout the week so that he can respond on them on Saturday. Saturday we'll schedule another conversation with him, or Saturday or Sunday again, for the same to follow up of what is happening. Marge and Wanjiru, back to you.
Thank you so much, Hillary, and thanks, Dr. Miguna, also for really coming on board and for sharing, with us. Oh, somebody's mic is on. Wanjiru, kindly mute. So I would like to say he was highlighting also the importance of the diaspora here. And some people might wonder, we are so far away. No, your struggles are our struggles. For example, when life the taxes are increased, that means the black taxes for us also increase. That's what somebody calls the black taxes. And we have children here who also want to come back to Kenya or visit Kenya. So this is why it's important. And we are together in this. And on Tuesday, I think I'll put it on the second, on the comment section, I'll be having a conversation with the Citizen TV, where we're going to really also, I'll be sharing, was one of the panelists there, sharing the diaspora impact in it. Because as a lot of you have seen, I shared all those the demonstrations that were going on in the diaspora. I was amplifying for them all the demonstration. You could see that in Germany, at least 6 towns demonstrated. There was a demonstration in France, in the Netherlands, in Scotland, in Italy, and so just do check and amplify and know that the diaspora is with you. We want to have a stable country. We want to have a stable community. We want to have an enabling environment, because only then can we also bring in money to invest there. Some of us have tried to invest there, but due to corruption, we were just bolted out, So, but that is not what we want. As before we continue, I'd like to say that there were over 29,000 people also listening anonymously. So the space has been like more of bigger or larger than a stadium. Chapeau there to our speaker and to the listeners who came. And those listening anonymously, yes, just feel free to take the points that we note. Wanjiru, do you have something to say before we go? Because as
Before
noted,
Anjiru, I was saying
go
that
on, go.
we are requesting this 28,000 to follow Maj and to follow Biril, to follow Anjiru, to follow each other for us to check up. And also, General is coming again next week. That one will keep us on course and to have a proper communication. When you communicate something or we communicate something, that one will go across the board to help us move this thing forward. So as much as we were 31 actually, we were 31,000 listening today.
No, Hillary, that is the 31,000. But then there was another, the what's it called? There's this one. Yeah, these ones who hide.
All right.
They're also almost the same number, so double so much. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. And also, we want to give everybody a mic. You raise the questions, we'll take them and we'll share them with Daktari with time. And next weekend again, we will be here. We're gonna schedule that and we'll agree on time. Wanjiru, before we give a mic to the audience.
Thank you very much, Hilary, Maj, Daktari, and all the guests. I think for me, the mental shift that we have to consider that is happening is the idea that we are the employers. I think because of where we've come from, where power has always been theirs, the way we relate to government is that you are the mheshimiwa, you're my boss. You're this, he even went and unleashed the army on us and is kidnapping us. I think we all get so consumed with the idea that the relations of power, the balance of power is on their side. So the mental shift for me is coming back to saying Article 1 tells me you're my employer. And as an entrepreneur, when I go into my office and I decide I'm firing people, you don't argue with me. What we did when we stormed into parliament and we took the mace, we said you're fired. We took away the articles, the tools of trade and said this office is closed. So I think for me, that is the kind of the mental shift that I would invite everyone to start thinking about, that we're not begging him. He is not our boss. We are the boss. And we have said you're fired. So pack your bags and go. That's as simple as that. Unfortunately, this time it's not just a letter that I can write from the CEO's office. Right now, it's going to need 5-10 million Kenyans coming out and saying, go home now.
Thanks so much, Wanjiru, for that. Let's proceed with Tony and then Kumbukeni and then Jafar. We still have over 99 people, over 100 people on the mic. So 2 minutes. And just for the message you have for General Miguna as he comes on list. He's going to listen and answer also to you later. Tony?
Yeah, how are you? First of all, Miguna is a good friend of mine. We worked together at the office of the Prime Minister in the years back. But I'm calling because of two things. The first thing is the Bill of Rights, Chapter 4. A lot of people have been talking about Chapter 1 and the sovereign power of the people. But a key part of the Boma's draft, the so-called 2010 Constitution, was the negotiated Bill of Rights. In fact, Uhuru Kenyatta's government was defeated on BBI because the courts upheld the rights of citizens, which are well captured. So the Jay-Z generation is well within the law to actually take back their country, not just by taking back the social contract, but by exercising their guaranteed rights, which are captured in Chapter 4. The second thing is both world wars were fought by young men in their 20s. There has been very few revolutions which are not led by the Jay-Z generation, including the historical period in Kenya's history of the Mau Mau. The younger people are the ones who take the front. So this Jay-Z generation should be proud because they are walking just like the soldiers of nobody who saved the world from Hitler. Sometimes it takes the courage of that generation to come out. The final thing I want to actually warn the country about is this military deployment. that, William Ruto is shrewd and crafty. And Yoweri Museveni is somebody that Ruto has been studying for a long time. Museveni governs through the military. He brought them in and then turned them to a political power, into martial law, and there is no constitution in Uganda. Kindly, Kenyans, don't take lightly the idea why the army is on the streets. This is a last-ditch effort. Should the citizens succeed, will they try and implement martial law, suspending the constitutional order? So why you must not relent next week, and why you cannot afford to relent now, is because when Ruto is cornered, he will go to extra legal means. And this has been done in Rwanda, it has been done in Uganda. So I just wanted to say, I find people saying the army are your friends. People must ask yourself, who are the commanders of the army? Why would they be on the streets and in every county? And why were they brought now? Parliament has been suspended. And right now, between the next 1 month of watching what the JCs do, the only thing between you and State House is not the police, it is the army. So I want everybody to think about the issue that the army itself is looking, because they come from Kenya, they're also looking at the mood of the country. And if we are strong and come out decisively, many of them will not agree to take orders that will destroy the country. Finally, I wanted to raise the issue of the IBC, that we are saying, don't worry about this. In fact, the NATCO process achieved nothing because they thought by giving Raila Odinga the African Union, they would destroy Kenya's opposition. That again was a Ruto move. The army is a Ruto move. Look at how shrewd he is. But then the JC was unseen. This revolution happening now, they did not plan for. And that is why they do not know how to handle it. It is leaderless. They cannot pinpoint where to go and what to do. And therefore, it must not fail. And it must be aware that NADCO failed because it was a political process and you can reward politicians. And that is why we don't have IBC. And that is why Ruto has done nothing at all from NADCO. And everything he has said tonight, everything Ruto has said since when I was doing point blank at KTN, I kept telling everyone, Ruto is a most dishonest man. And I was just calling today to add my voice and end by thanking the host of this thing, because in the period of the 90s, we used independent media to jump mainstream media. These spaces are helping Kenyans here genuinely. You're hosting General Maguna here, they are hosting Ruto in Citizen TV. Thank God for the organizers and the men and women who put this together.
Thank you so much, Tony, for joining. And the point that you put across is really very important. The role of the military. In most cases, the military of many countries are very unpredictable. And we must also remember that there are also people who have other interests. So that it went the way it did, it's not exactly a good thing. So we hope that there's going to be a call to order, because otherwise that is how people take could take advantage. So we don't know some of the things that are going on in the background there. And we must also remember that we have, it's not months ago that the CDF really came down, was supposed to have the same security as the president. And no matter who you choose, no matter your political affiliation, a CDF should not be dying like that, because now you look at it as a patriotic person and say, oh, that's the top of the military. It should be having the same security as the president. So what are they saying to us? What went wrong there? We don't know that, and that is still being investigated. So thanks for bringing up that point about the military. We hope we're not going to go the military way, because that would be Kenya would have been thrown back many years. I don't even know what to say. But
look at Uganda. Look at our neighbor Uganda. Museveni has done it. His son is the head of the military. They govern in parliament. Members of the military are MPs. And you look at what Ruto has done to young children in 2 weeks. Do you doubt that this man, if he could, He will not overrun us. But I just wanted to bring that issue to Kenyans.
No, it's a very important aspect that you speak about. And even if we are trying, for example, when you're trying to have countries vote for Kenya in the AU, candidature that Raila Odinga was, supposed to be vying for. When I saw the picture of Ruto, Museveni, and Raila together, when I don't know what happened, if that the vote for Uganda actually means an installment of Muhoozi. For the
And the
Ugandan
way Ruto
regime.
admires Museveni, you see the way he looks up to him.
So guys,
Yeah.
let's try to understand. Let's know that at least for the very younger ones, that a military regime is not exactly what one wants to have, because then other things change. If you are arrested, it could be other laws that are applying. Now, thanks once again, Hillary and Wanjiru. Do you have something to say before we go back to the next speaker? Okay. Now we got Mutomi. If you're able to speak, yes. Otherwise, you're going to remove you from the speaker panel because you're blocking others. So now we go to Change, Bet, and Joe in that order.
Thank you, Wanjiru. I think I don't have much to say except just to thank Hillary and the organizers of this meeting for bringing us Miguna, and I was so surprised.
Thank you, Wanjiru. I think I don't have much.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Change opened his platform, and I had to just mute it there. Kindly continue. Engineer, please proceed.
Somebody was asking two gadgets, right, Marge?
Yeah, there's some echo, but engineer can proceed now. Engineer?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
He seems not to be able to hear us. So, Joe?
I'm having mic issues. Give me a minute, so you can pass it to the next speaker for a minute, like as I sort my mic issues.
Joe, can you please go?
Thank you very much, Dr. Rules, Hillary, and Wanjiru for organizing this very, very powerful and moving Twitter space. Yeah, first of all, of course, I wish to pay my tribute to all those who were very unfortunate to have met their end during the protest. May I also pay tribute to the descendants of the Mau Mau revolution. You've truly shown us and inspired many. I come from Uganda, and we relate to what is happening in Kenya. I think what we can now say that the generation Z has crossed the Rubicon, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Kenya. And really, there is no backing down. So we want a total liberation. And I think this is going to inspire not just Ugandans, but East Africans and the rest of Africans. And this could be, I think Kenya is now in a very, very strong position to establish the kind of system that serves the interests of the wananchi. And I think this could be a mode of governance for first of all for us in East Africa, but then it could be a model for the rest of Africa. So going forward, I really think we need to look at a number of things, and I think some speakers have alluded to this: the role of the military. Let's remember that Ruto remains a protege of Museveni, and I think he reads from Museveni's script. So I think that is a situation we must reckon with. So I think speak directly to the army and tell them this is not we're not against the army, but I think the interests you are what you want is the changes that you want, the total revolution that you want will also serve their interests. And I really think people should be armed with cameras and to document and to capture anything that happens. And the army should know that any killings that happen, I think they will be held accountable. I think we need to make that very clear. Let's also reach out to the so-called development partners. I think much as they're always playing a double game, but I think we need to tell them that the time has come for Kenya now to achieve its total liberation. And we are counting on their support, not necessarily counting on their support, but it should stay out of Kenyan affairs. I think yes, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Kenya, and we hope this can be achieved, and that this revolution can be consolidated, so that the people of Kenya are finally free. But what we can say is now you're in a very, very good position. You have the numbers, you have the momentum, and Ruto is in a very, very weak position. So I think keep going, keep mobilizing here on social media, the people in the diaspora, but above all, the people on the ground, because those are the ones who are going to be at the brunt. But we stand with you. I yield the mic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All the way from Uganda, or representing Uganda. We had also someone from Uganda before. I'd like to say that we still have over 100 requests for the mics. So now we're going to, moving forward, give each speaker 2 minutes. That means that after 1 minute, I will raise my hand. So if you look at my profile and you see my hand raised, then it means you have a minute to go. So now there is Jeff, and then Kumbukeni next, and then as we had other speakers.
Kumbukeni, man. Kumbukeni is our guy.
Greetings, fellow Kenyans. Let me just dive direct to the point, so one time. We, the people of Kenya, these powerful words open our constitution, reminding us that the power and authority of our nation lie in our hands. And today we gather to discuss the way forward for our country, especially after Ruto, his finance bill 2024 and his cronies were rejected. If nothing is done, get me clearly, if nothing is done, this bill will still become law and we cannot stand idle by it. You know, it's like trying to reject sukuma wiki at dinner. You say no, but it still ends up on your plate. Our beloved nation faces critical issues that require our immediate attention and action. Our members of parliament have lost our trust. They no longer represent us, but serve their interests and those of their masters. It's time to demand real change, starting with the leadership. Our national debt has surged past 11 trillion, posing a severe threat to our economic stability. Okay? We need to uncover any discrepancies and hold those responsible accountable. Article 201 of the Constitution mandates prudent use of public resources, which is clearly not being adhered to.
Jafar, try to land, please. We've gotten, I know 2 minutes is not enough, but
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. It's okay. Corruption remains rampant. We cannot ignore the increasing cases of extrajudicial killings, abductions, kidnappings. And just today, Honorable Alfred Kitter was abducted, highlighting the dire state of our security and justice system. Okay? The taxes imposed by the IMF and World Bank agreements are choking the life out of the economy. And during the recent demonstration, President Ruto made the grievous mistake of unleashing the army on citizens. This rash decision was later justified by claims of following the law through parliament. It's like David and Goliath, only this time Goliath is the government, and we, the people, are David with a slingshot of truth of justice. Okay? So my way forward to this is we need a debt audit and accountability. We need anti-corruption measures. We need security reforms. We need job creations. We need to reject anything that is punitive. And we need a structured leadership. Let us remember that the power to change our nation lies with us. We must demand accountability, transparency, and government that truly serves the people. Okay? And to add on the reports for the impressions, kindly like and share and follow each and every one on this wall. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's keep the time again. Kumbukeni, and then Dr. James, in that order. 2 minutes each. Kumbukeni, go.
Thank you. I guess I'll stay. Thank you so much. And first of all, I'd like to honor those who lost their lives. So my focus, as I said yesterday in Mizani's room, is the foreign interference. Without addressing that, we might as well all pack our bags and go home. So what is the risk of keeping military bases in Kenya? Sovereignty issues. Hosting foreign military bases can undermine a nation's sovereignty, as it may have to cede some control over its own territory and political decisions to accommodate the foreign power's interests. Security risks. Foreign military bases can become targets for terrorism and military attacks. We all saw the Mombasa base, the US base that was attacked, potentially drawing the host nation into conflicts that it might otherwise avoid. Political instability. The presence of foreign troops can lead to internal political tension and unrest, especially if the local population opposes the foreign military presence. We've seen what the UK military in Nanyuki has done to the people there, and I am certain the people of Nanyuki resent their government for that, for not doing anything about it. Economic costs. Maintaining and supporting foreign bases can strain the host nation's resources and infrastructure, often without adequate compensation or economic benefits. We're all not asking ourselves who provides their water, who provides their electricity, who is paying for all the resources they're using in those bases. Cultural and social impact. The presence of foreign military personnel can lead to cultural clashes and social issues, including crime and incidents of misconduct by foreign troops. We have seen the rape cases in Nanyuki and elsewhere where these white people are raping our women and getting away with and abandoning the children that are born out of those situations. Yeah. Dependency. I'm going to be quick. I have only 4 left. Yeah. Dependency. Relying on foreign military bases for national defense can create a dependency that weakens the host nation's own military capabilities and strategic autonomy. Kenyan military right now is trained by the US and the UK. Kenyan intelligence services are trained by the US and the UK. They do nothing outside of their advice by the US and the UK. And environmental damage. Military bases can cause significant environmental harm, including pollution, land degradation, and whoever that NIS employee is, please shut your mic off. Environmental damage. Military bases can cause significant environmental harm, including pollution, land degradation, and destruction of local ecosystems. We've seen it in Nanyuki. We don't need anyone to tell us it's happening. We've seen what they've done in Nanyuki. Geopolitical tensions. Hosting foreign military bases can strain relations with neighboring countries and other international actors who may view the presence as a threat or provocation. If we get in a situation where we need allies outside of the US and the UK, we will not be able to get those allies because we have bases of the US and the UK within Kenya. Violation of national interests. Foreign military bases often serve the strategic interests of the foreign power rather than the host nation, potentially leading to actions and policies that are contrary to the host nation's own interests and values. They tell you all the time they're serving US interests, UK interests, not Kenyan interests. Legal and human rights issues, like I said, you have the rape cases and all the deaths that have happened in Nanyuki and in Mombasa. So any person who wants to take on the next government who is not supporting the removal of foreign interests and foreign military bases, I advise all Kenyans should not take the position. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we proceed, can we kindly stick to the topic now? Because we can cross other bridges when we get there. And thanks, Kumbukeni, for that. So now it's James, Dr. James, Bet, and then George, 2 minutes each.
Thank you much. And thank you, Hillary and Wanjiru, for co-hosting and holding this space. I think that you folks have done an excellent job doing that job. And it's very good to be back in the spaces I've been missing for a while. So I wanted to begin by, first of all, underlining one of the things that the General said. The General said that the diaspora plays a very important role. And look and behold, the host and co-host, I don't know where Wanjiru is based, but are in the diaspora. And we know what Much does in her spaces, and Hillary in his own profile and in the Luo Nation profile as well. They also do fantastic jobs hosting this. And that is where we have to actually do better in terms of hosting and doing things that the government does not suspect or places that they cannot control. I remember Safaricom was playing games with the internet the other day. So if we can circumnavigate that or go around that.
Maj,
Is someone else
telling
speaking?
me to speak. I mean, you are.
KDR TV, yes, please. Yeah, you're going to speak. Just mute a little bit. Or, yeah. Okay.
Thank you much. Yeah, so that's my point number one. Point number two, I wish we pressed the general a little bit, because I think that when he was asked about removing the regime, he said no, unequivocally. He said that people are not listening to him. But at the same time, he talked about system change. So I wish that we pressed him a little bit in terms of, okay, well, what exactly are you saying? Because I thought that he was saying both points at the same time, saying we need a system change that is less dependent on the colonials, and also saying that we need to remove the regime that's sitting right now. So that clarity, I think, was missed there a little bit. And then point number three, he talked about, he said that leaderless groups normally fizzle out in 2 weeks. Then the question becomes, how then are we going to sustain the momentum that we have? He has 5 or 6 things that he recommended that are very, very point by point. So how then do we proceed without a leader? My last point. Kenyans should be very mad, because while we were running this space 35K strong, the president was being interviewed by media houses, and the scripts from that interview really is gaslighting at the bare minimum. So we should be very, very mad, because he was asked about even the rejected bill, and he said, okay, Shaurienyu, so may reject, these are the things you missed. So I am so happy that we're talking about this and we're talking about ways forward. So thank you very much for your time, Marge and Hillary, and Viva.
Thank you so much, James. Marge, 1 minute. Thank you so much, James, for coming and also for retweeting that. But I think also next week, Generali is coming again to give the direction on the same of what you're asking. I think that maybe it wasn't clear, but it was clear in his first submission, Marge, right?
Yes. So basically, that's what I wanted to respond to. His approach that many people were not understanding is that he was like, they go on a reset. So that actually, because even me, when I came to the space, I had over 20 questions that were presented to me by people, and I wanted to ask these questions. But then the approach that he put out there was really a reset in accordance to Article 1 of the Constitution. So that pretty much puts it at the reset mode. So when you're talking about the structure and things, that is when, step 1 was, drain the swamp. Then we begin from that. And he was just really concentrating on step 1 first before we go to other measures. I hope that clarifies, but he can come again and ask. Wanjiru, you want to say something, then George? Yeah.
Yes. Amaj, I think it's the same thing that I was talking about at the beginning of this meeting, that a lot of us were struggling to understand what he was saying, because
I can't hear anybody, Marge. Is anybody talking?
Yes, Wanjiru is talking, but stay put. I think now they're trying to, just stay put. Let me text you. You can hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you, Marge.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
He cannot hear you. He cannot hear you, but I can hear you. Wanjiru, go finish and then leave the space and come back after talking, so that you can also hear Hillary.
Okay,
go on.
So what he was saying is that if we have one message, meaning Ruto must go and his entire cohort, when we go out there, the message is one. Exercising our Article 1 right to go and peacefully conduct a revolution where we go and we demand that they all leave office. So the second question for me to him was, then what happens? What do we do about the power vacuum and the leadership vacuum? And the idea was we create an organization which he mentioned is called a National Transitional Authority, that comprises of 52 people from the different regions of the country who are professionals, volunteers, and then we come on board and negotiate how are we going to take ourselves to the next level. So because we are at this point, we are leaderless and we do not know exactly, I mean, as he said, there's no revolution that's perfect. But he said the first thing that we do is we get this entire swamp out, because we cannot rely on them to build for us an IEBC, because they will not do it. And if they do it, they're going to put the same people who are going to divert the will of the people. We cannot approach the courts because the courts are also captured. We cannot go to parliament because the parliament has already been compromised. So his idea was that we get the entire system out and we replace it with a transitional organization where we decide, okay, so how do we move on from there? But we did not get into the nitty-gritties of how that is going to happen. And I guess that is where your question is. Now that we are beginning to think about the way forward, there has got to be people who are going to champion this movement, that now we need order. And that's the thing. The good thing with this kind of organizations is that they start amorphous, and then the leaders start emerging on their own, and you can already see it. So I think for me that is how he answered the question. But if you listen to the interview, he explained it very well at the beginning.
Yeah, thanks for underlining. That was it. George, KDR TV, and then Deborah.
Thank you so much, Marge and Hilary and Wanjiro. I'm actually also here for the same implication of Article 1, because the Constitution is very clear. The exercise of the powers of the sovereignty, it says that power is transferred to the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. There is no add, if, or but about it. And then Article 2 says the Constitution is supreme. So my approach is we cannot get the same results if we play by the same rules. And that's why I have been asking that we focus on changing the Constitution to meet the signs and the demands of our time. I don't know where that hesitation is coming from. You can tell me that you don't have the appetite for greatness, or you are not ready for greatness. Because there is no way you are going to quote a constitution, Article 1, to say we have the power. But the article is very clear. It transfers, it says on Section 3, sovereign power under the Constitution is delegated to the following state organs. Goes ahead to say Parliament, the National Executive, and the Judiciary. And then Article 2 says no person may claim or exercise state authority except as authorized under this Constitution. And then you go to Article 101, now stipulates the process of replacing members of parliament. So this idea that we are going to yank a president out of the seat, we are going to yank all the members outside of the seat and then replace them, but we are using the same rules of the old constitution, we are going to get the same 400 people, and 20 months later, we are going to be complaining about them. So the momentum you young people have, you should utilize it to the maximum and actually agitate for the repeal of the Constitution so that you can achieve a minimized number of members of parliament, a manageable government body, and then supercharge systems that are supposed to work for you. Take away politicians from your systems. Fund the systems so that they can work for you. But this idea of halfway through, halfway in, halfway out, you are going to render yourself irrelevant in 16 months.
Thank you so much, George, for your contribution to that. And so I would really also forward your questions, some of your questions to Deborah as she comes in. Deborah, just take the mic and 2 minutes as you proceed.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Thank you, Marge, for hosting this, and thank you, Hilary, also for hosting this. So what the topic is way forward for Kenya. What's the way forward? I'm going to talk about the diaspora side because we are in the diaspora. I'm in diaspora. What can we also do as Kenyans to make the movement go on? I want to address the diaspora. When these MPs come to your states, okay, and showing opulence, going to shop in the high-end stores and all that stuff, we should accost them and tell them, no, you're not welcomed here. I don't know if you guys saw what happened with MP, I think it was a member of parliament for Ivory Coast. He went to France, and actually the France citizen accosted him and asked him, you were involved in corruption, but here you are in France shopping. Why are you doing this? So this is for the diaspora. We should not be the ones hosting Ruto when he comes. to Atlanta and putting up a hotel. And I'm sorry to say, the people who hosted Ruto in Atlanta, they have not been paid. They were told, host him, get the hotel, do this, we will pay you. He did the conference, he went back to Kenya without paying them. I was given the opportunity, I said no. So we as diaspora should stand up. When they come here, we tell them, no, you're not welcomed here. We're not going to listen to you. So we should not play double speak as diaspora. When they're coming here, we welcome them. And then when something happens, we are the first one to open our voice. No. Make your voice heard. If it's a no in Kenya, it's a no here in the diaspora. And all Kenyans speak in one voice. These people, MPs, will not have a place. They will not have anywhere to run to. If they come to diaspora, we are with them. If they're in Kenya, the Kenyans are with them until we hold them all accountable. So yes, the way forward is all Kenyans should stand in one voice, be it diaspora, be it in Kenya. Let's hold these people accountable.
Thank you, Deborah.
So thank you,
Deborah. So now, KDR TV, the one question that's in the room also as you proceed. Okay, or probably I'll just get back to George if KDR TV doesn't take that. Over to you, 1 minute, and then we go to Alenga. Mzalendo Alenga. The question is, what's the way forward for Kenya? And this is now a Q&A, not a Q&A session. We're asking questions that Dr. Miguna will also respond to. Okay, so KDR TV and then Alenga.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for the opportunity. You are asking me a question, so can you please clarify so that when I'm answering that question, I'm giving a concrete answer to what your question. So please, can you repeat it?
Yes. So according to George's understanding or the constitution that he reads, like the power is delegated to organizations. So he does not really look at it as we, the people, are able to really also do something to exercise Article 1 of the Constitution as we believe, because he says we have delegated that power. But my understanding of delegation is that you borrow it, but it comes back to you. So that's why I think it's still relevant. But over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Maj, Gondi, and my good friend, Dr. Miguna, and all the Kenyans listening, especially from the diaspora. My perspective is completely very, 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 very clear. The Constitution is very clear, and I don't actually see any problem with the way the Constitution I put it. Very clear that the power belongs to the people, and they can invoke the Constitution in order for them to get that power back. And right now, that is exactly what we are doing. That's exactly what the Gen Z are doing on the streets. Even when I listened to President Ruto answering questions, he said if Kenyans decide that it's over for him, he'll definitely have to step aside. So I don't actually see any problem. And then the other aspect about this particular protest is that when we are demanding for accountability, we need to see that accountability taking place. Mr. Ruto struggled so much to explain to the journalist his actions. He has been asked so many times to be accountable, but we are not actually seeing that. He gave promises which he has never delivered. When we see young people like Sudi flaunting 20 million, is having over eight bodyguards guarding a simple MP. What does that mean? Doesn't Ruto know exactly what is happening? The other thing is, I'm really surprised that our president doesn't know that a kid of 12 years old who took around 12 bullets into his body is still alive. I mean, he's completely. I mean, even the NIS doesn't tell the president what's really happening out here. So the president doesn't actually know what is happening. So these are the quagmire we are in, and now we have to do things step by step. We can't just say that now let us repeal the constitution and then we go into anarchy. No, we have to do things step by step. We already had the commissioners of IEBC who were unceremoniously bundled out of office. These are the people we really need now to come back and help us, because they understand what was basically happening there. So because of time, I might not actually delve so much, but my strongest preposition is that let's actually sit down as Kenyans and have a wonderful conversation which will make our country move forward. And our country moving forward, we have the answers. We have the systems to allow us or to make us move forward. So the very best option is if President Ruto steps down tomorrow or today, we still have systems to help enable us continue. There is no anarchy. That is all we are looking for. If it's a transitional government, we can form a transitional. I might not really have enough time to put my point out there. But my population to the presidency is that right now, my first question before the presidency, my first question to Gen Z, we need to know how many people were killed. It's not only about the Gen Z, but even the media houses, people like us. Can we also audit, go back and know exactly how many people were killed? We have these particular records. People were killed in Githurai. We need to know how many of them were killed. That is all we need to know. How many people were injured? And again, I read in the newspapers that around 14 million was collected. Where is this 14 million going to? Are we catered for those young kids who are still in the hospitals? Have we catered for the people who died? We need to get the information. The president is still insisting that it's only 6 people who died. We need the numbers, we need the data so that we can move forward with tranquility. That is what we actually need to understand. Then the other thing is now to the presidency. His claims are absurd. Can he also sit down with the cabinet or with NIS and give us real data? When he claims that he is not going to abduct people, while he's on, while he was preparing for the interview, the Alfred Keter was abducted. His abduction is completely absurd. So these are some of the things we are really asking our president. Can you walk the talk? What you are telling us is completely absurd. Those are some of my concerns, Madam Maj.
Thank you so much, KDR TV, the news. And as you see, we gave him more time because he's a journalist. He covers also a lot in Kenya. You might see that here he doesn't have as many followers, but in the on other social media he does. He's been reporting all the time. So let's build a network. Follow him, follow each other. Let's just build that network. Very good questions, KDR TV. Hilary, do you have something to say before we continue?
No, the conversation is going on well, Maj. Taking some concussion here.
Okay, yeah, you were sick. Sorry. Yes, so now we go to Dominic. 2 minutes, please. Dominic, your hand is up, please. 2 minutes. Okay. If Dominic is not taking the mic, let's go to Lawrence. Okay, Lawrence is also not taking the mic. G, Kais, we're gonna remove. Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I support what Dr. said. The struggle is a very big one, and we need to take a lot of caution because we are starting from 1963, and we have to rewrite the wrongs that were done. Kenya has to be reborn again. We don't have to Mau Mau. And immediately they came back, their main aim was just to have their land back, but they did not have the structures to figure out what do we need next. So and the conversation is a very good one. And I'm thinking of why can't we also, before we get to Tuesday, every 1 minute after every 6 hours, from 6 midnight, 12, 6 p.m., we have a minute of silence and we sing the national anthem. You can imagine the ring singing, everyone singing in town tomorrow midday. That our national anthem, we sing the first answer, whether in Kiswahili, in English, so that we can have the momentum going on. That's a suggestion that I'm giving. Thank you.
Thank you so much for keeping the time. And I'm trying to queue in more people so that at least be able to speak, because we still have over 100 people speaking. Kwayu Freedom, and then Kwayu Fred, and then KOT Sonko, and then CPA Magana, in that order. Fred Kwayu. Okay, so let's go to KOT Sun. If
hello,
not,
hello, guys.
Hello, go on.
Okay, I hope you can hear me clearly. I'm Mabonga, and I come from Western Bungoma in Kimilili. So personally, I've been on the streets, and of course, I'm not going to ask the general a question. I'm only speaking on behalf of those people who have been on the streets in Nairobi for the last 2 weeks. So the president today clearly say that the police officers are not going to use excessive forces. And he also clearly told us that the KDF are not going to come on the streets tomorrow. But if at all there is any person who will be going against the peaceful demonstrations, he's saying that there are people who have been stealing from the public. He also called us the criminals because a few peaceful protesters tried to access the parliament. Of course, they managed. So he's saying that whenever such an occurrence happens, come on Tuesday, he's going to order the police. And he also, before saying that, he had clearly said that currently the police are very independent. So this guy, when I've been watching that interview on Citizen TV, he says this thing today. Tomorrow, I mean, after this minute, he's twisting his tongue again. And yet, we as the Gen Z on the space, we're trying to bring him on the space so that we can listen to him, because currently we don't have any leaders who can go to the State House, sit with him, because he will compromise everything if at all we are going to have a dialogue at the State House. So the president at the moment, I don't think he's very ready for a conversation with us on this space. So any person who is suggesting that we have a conversation, a dialogue with the president, I don't think is something that will bear fruits, because he lies. He keeps on lying. Even when the clips were being played, what he was saying when he was campaigning, he's trying to evade the conversation. So this man is a liar. He's probably a liar. And now we as the young people, currently I'm 23 years, I'm still young. We are not going to look at our leaders lying to us in our own eyes, yet we are going as we keep quiet. So those who guys who are here on this space on Tuesday at exactly 8 a.m., let us all turn in large numbers, occupy all the streets. Let us occupy Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Kakamega, Vihiga, anywhere. We are not going, of course, to chant or do what. We are going to sit down and play cards and do everything. So, guys, kindly come out in large numbers. I'm requesting you, come out in large numbers. Don't sit back at home as the president is lying every now and then on public TV. Kindly, please, I request you again. So thank you so much, the host and the co-host of this space. I didn't have much to say, but I'm just furious and I'm anchored because of what this guy is doing for us. He's doing against the will of all the people. He's doing against the will of the rule of law. So let us not sit back and watch this guy destroying our future. Otherwise, I love you all and I hope to see you soon. And if you can follow me, kindly click a follow back. Thank you.
Thanks, and thanks for your comment there. And yes, let's also build a network. Guys, let's focus on the topic, a way forward for Kenya. So the next speaker coming, that is the topic that you want to focus on. You focus on the topic, and if you have a question for Dr. Miguna, then you ask that question. He's gonna listen, maybe probably also still come in, but he was going to listen in and answer those questions. So Mzalendo Mzalendo Alenga, 2 minutes. Way forward. What's the way forward? Right. Thank you much for this opportunity to speak on this space. And I quickly have to talk about number one. Right now, William Ruto is seemingly looking beaten and rained on. But we know the way of dictators. Sometimes when they are cornered, they look polite, they look like they have no strength. But when you give them time, there's a way they rehabilitate themselves and they come back and hit you harder. So what we can expect in the next coming days, if we slow down the momentum, one thing for sure is people are going to continue disappearing one by one. People are going to be found dead. People are going to be to be arrested arbitrarily. And you have heard him say clearly that he knows. You know, the good thing about Ruto, he always hints about the bad things he's going to do. So if you listen to him all through from the 25th of June, he's always saying, we know the rogue people who are in this protest, and we will follow them and we will deal with them. No, none of them will be left. So he's clearly saying the systematic plan that he has in reprimanding everyone that dared speak, voice their concern about the state of the country. And I was there at the protests, especially on the 25th, even when the parliament was being, when guys were getting into the parliament, and I watched everything, I documented everything, and there is no single footage that you look through and you see any single person holding a weapon or looking like a criminal. And in any case, the police should have had even one weapon they secured from one of the protesters, and they can tell us this one here was a criminal. He was armed with this type of gun, or he was armed with a machete. But you cannot just say they were criminals. But we know how dictators and tyrants do things. Yeah. They first of all label, and then once they have labeled, then it justifies the unfair action that they are going to take against the people. So he has already labeled and said there were some criminal elements who infiltrated the protests, so that now that justifies the people that is going to kill, the people that is going to detain, the people that are going to disappear. And this is a game he's good at. It will not be the first time he's doing that. So secondly, I would like to talk about something that I heard that there was quite a discussion here, because we are looking at the way forward. And for me, the way forward is we have to maintain the momentum of this push to get Ruto out of power with the entire cabinet and the whole circle of politicians that surround him, so that this country can have a fresh start. But what are the options that we have? One person will argue that we have the constitution, we can go through that and effect the change we want. Some other person can argue we can wait for 2027 and vote out whom we do not want and bring in the person that we want. But the reality is, this country, you can hardly achieve change through the ballot, because that ballot is managed in such a way that it will favor those that can buy the vote and those that can manipulate the results. And that is why when you think about change, they will always refer you to the ballot. They will always refer you to the ballot, because they know that is where they have the stranglehold of that ballot, and therefore they determine what happens in that ballot. So we're not going to go that direction if we really need a radical change for this country, because what this country needs is a radical change. And sometimes, please land. I know that the points are very important, sure. But we have 100 people sure, waiting. Let me get down to it. Sure. Sometimes when you want to see the larger expanse of the ocean, you must be willing to lose sight of the seashore. I think our military is not like militaries of other countries that we might use as a typical example of a military that took over and ran the country in this direction, because our recruitment process for the military is fairly a clean one, and we actually get into the military, people that have good level of education, bright chaps, and they go through lots and lots of trainings that we cannot compare to the other militaries, where miscreants are the ones who are recruited into the military. So for me, I think, and I totally believe, if we need a fresh start, we need to push this so that it reaches to levels where the military can take over. And once it takes over, then we can pursue issues like having a transitional period of maybe 90 days or 180 days. And then we table we have a fresh election, and therefore the people that were in the past regime cannot be allowed to vie in that election. And that is the only way we'll get a new set of politicians. That's my point. Thank you so much, Alenga. I get your point that you're for the idea of military takeover. I know that there's so many people who are not for that idea. So as we talk about the way forward, CPA, can you take 2 minutes discussing, also telling us if a military takeover would be something you would want to see? Over to you, CPA. Okay, CPA is not speaking now. So the next person is Mok Nyabinda. Military takeover, what's the way forward? That, or what do you suggest? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So Arif, what do you think about a military way or takeover, and what other way forward do you have for Kenya?
I think we don't want military. We want the current government that are there.
I think the question is too hot. We drop it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Arif,
Just repeat again,
I cannot
please.
hear you. Can anyone hear Arif?
Yes, we can. Please repeat.
We can hear him. I think maybe your mic.
Okay, I think now they started. I'll log out and come back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody can hear me? Give me a 5.
We can hear you, Biril.
Okay, Arif, you can take it, and just let's be brief so that you can wind up as you summarize.
Can I get the question again, please?
No, you're just asking questions onto way forward. We're not going to ask onto that hot question.
Okay. I wanted to say the president was ignoring the truth. He didn't want to take responsibility. So on next question, when he comes on Twitter or on next journey, I wanted for every question he answers immediately. If he doesn't answer, we repeat it again. It will not be a political situation where he has to entice us, or you're trying to sell something, and you're trying to please the customer at the end of the day. So that's one. And then the second thing, I think president was not honest. He was totally not honest.
Arif, sorry. We are actually on way forward for Kenya conversation, not on the discussion that the president had on the Citizen TV today. A way forward for Kenya. So just let the others respond so that you can understand. Kinyanjui or Inform, if you can hear me, you take the mic and you take a minute. Kenyan? Yes, take the mic for a minute.
Is that Kenyan lady?
Yeah, this is a Kenyan lady.
Yeah, Kenyan lady, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, who's to speak? Did you call for Kenyan lady? I'm sorry.
Kenyan lady, you're the
Kenyan
one.
lady.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for this space. I want to say Gen Z have been doing such a wonderful job. But let me go straight to my 3 points. I hope I will be able to make them within 2 minutes. Number one, I want to clarify for those of us who have been following into the spaces. I would like to clarify for the person that asked about where is the accountability of the 14 million that have been collected for our dead. Please follow Hani Falsafa. She is the most credible Gen Z I have seen in a long time. She's the most credible Kenyan I have seen in a long time. All that money that we have raised through these spaces, she is going directly and physically into the hospitals. She's taking care of these bills, and she is actually reposting all the tickets, and she's also holding space, or she's coming into spaces, and then she's updating on that. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify about the clarification on the number of people who have died. That, of course, we have to rely on the government, but about the money that has been collected through this space, Hani Farsafa, please follow her. She's the one who's been responsible on that portion. The second thing I want to speak about is corruption in the diaspora. Let's not bury our heads on the sand and go like, get involved in this movement and get infiltrated in this movement of Gen Z. We do know that here in the diaspora, there are so many of us that are in bed with this Mr. Ruto. We know that for a while, there are so many people that are so corrupt, they are so tribalistic, and they're in this diaspora. We know, and it is very, very well known, that we have managed to bring down institutions from people in the diaspora, which have been put together by us in Kenya in order to help our country. But you guys have gone to bed with these ministries. You guys have gone to bed with the government, and you have managed to bring us down, or you have tried to bring us down. So when it comes to this is much more sensitive matter. I would request that the Gen Z as a group, actually, you need to vet people. I don't know how you're supposed to do it. I don't know how that's supposed to happen, but be very really leery also when you deal with people out here in the diaspora. Okay? Very, very important. Please. Also, when diaspora comes in, please do not take it away from the Gen Zs. They remain front and they remain at the center. We are the most disintegrated people with very many of organizations out here in the diaspora, such that you don't even know which one to trust. All right? So I would ask that, please, for the Gen Zs to still remain on the front and the center. My last point that I want to make, could Dr. Miguna General, please speak on Mr. Honorable Ishungwa's submission about the scraping off or the amendment of the land law that he submitted about like 2 days ago, but it was dated like, I don't know, in May. Like we are so confused. I don't even know what is going on. And then the second clarification or speak on that I would like the general to speak about is on Atiende Omolo's submission on after the president rejected or whatever he did and sent back the finance bill 2024 back to parliament, but then we know they're in recess. But then I do know that the landed friend, Mr. Omolo, did make a submission to the parliament, and I don't know what its implication is as far as the finance bill and the finance bill becoming law in the next 14 days. I yield.
Thank you very much. I'll give Informed. Informed, are you there? We're just asking questions so that when the Terry comes again, we can be able to address them. Informed, if you're not taking Daniel or Prof, can you take it? Bob, you're ready. Go ahead. Just take 2 minutes so that you can close. We're just taking questions, and let's try and stick to the points. We're talking about a way forward. So let's all take the mic and go straight to the point, 2 minutes each, so that all of us can be able to put up across.
Okay, that is well noted, and thanks for this opportunity. So mine is, I'm thinking the way forward. I believe everybody's pushing for all our MPs to be recalled, which to me will take a long process of IEBC being drafted back. I don't think it's something that will take a short time, and we need to keep our momentum going, because the momentum we have now, if we let it die down, Ruto has won. Whether we won on the dropping off of the finance bill, we've not got our main win yet, which is taking back our country as the young people and getting our country being run as we want, not as the few 1% or the political class wants it run. So my suggestion is, why don't we all come together and push Mr. Ruto to disband parliament. He has the power to dissolve the parliament. Article 261 of the 2010 Constitution articulates it clearly that he has the power to do it. And our main push should be that, because if you look at our MPs, all of them, I don't know, there are 300 or something of them, we don't have any confidence in them anymore, because we were protesting on the streets. We were telling them, guys, no, this thing, please reject it. Okay. They deliberately went ahead and took side of the executive, which did not send them to parliament. We as Kenyans sent those MPs to legislate for us. We did not send them to fulfill the executive's wishes. Okay. So my advice, like going forward, I think we should push for dissolving parliament and we go for fresh elections with the momentum that we have. We only need legislative elections for now, and it will send a clear message to all the 204 MPs who voted yes. Believe me, I don't think any of their constituents will want them back in parliament. Okay, and
Thank
it will
you
be a
very
clear
much,
message to
Bob.
everyone who wins back their seat.
Bob, thank you.
You are here to
sorry to interrupt you. You've done your 2 minutes. I just wanted, in a nutshell,
Can I ask
just
a
hold
question,
on,
please?
just a minute. Bob, in a nutshell, you said that the parliament to be dissolved, first of all. That's your point, so that I can give the other person. Thank you very much. Marge, are you asking something before I give the mic?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm if I'm audible now.
Yes, now I can hear you.
I think Wanjiru was talking Biril. Wanjiru was saying
No, it's
something.
not Manjiru. Wanjiru, you wanted to say something. Come on, before we hand over the mic to somebody else.
Yes. I just wanted to. I just wanted us to redirect the conversation a little bit. We have established a couple of things. This person that we're dealing with does not listen. That's number one. And even if he doesn't listen, he is not interested in reconstituting parliament or putting in a cabinet that is responsive. This person is a pathological liar. So I want us to go back and start imagining that there is nobody that you can negotiate with in the name of Ruto. I don't call him president anymore because he has no longer any authority as far as I'm concerned, because we have already taken away the power we donated to that entire government when we went and said, all of you go home, for subverting the will of the people. So let us now start imagining an opportunity where we are not negotiating. We're not talking. A time for talking is over. Let's go there.
Just before the next speaker comes in, the point at which I was interrupted is when I was asking, because somebody came in and said military takeover, and I wanted to hear what others say about it. And then all of a sudden my mic was not working. So after this, we need to check with Elon Musk how far people can really manipulate these things. But I want to put a point across. If you look at Zimbabwe and you look at other countries where the military took over, it is not a positive thing. So this is something we shouldn't wish for our people. When Mnangagwa took over with the military, Zimbabweans went on to celebrate and were even dancing with the military on the street, But then what happened? Until now, you've seen. Yeah. So guys, protect the constitution that we have. If you have something to change, let us work together and do a constitutional amendment. The importance of the constitution is that whatever happened, whatever situation is, the objectivity remains when we have a constitution in place. It is a good constitution. When you want to change something, let us use the normal channel. Otherwise, if we look for other things where the constitution isn't working, then we're going to get into a serious dictatorship, because we can only use our constitution to call on those dictators and say, no, what you're doing is wrong according to this and this and this and this. So no, people fear talking about the military option. I am here to underline that it is an option that we don't want to have in our country. We are a very progressive democracy. Other countries look forward to us. We host many people. We hosted the refugees from the genocide in Rwanda. We host a lot of refugees in Sudan. So actually, Kenya is not only important to Kenya, but Kenya is important to the whole the Eastern Africa and the entire Africa. That having been said, back to you, Hillary, as you cue in the next speaker. Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, Sandra, wait. It is good to let us see your hand up. That is very key to keep our conversation informed. Daniel and informed, are you here, guys? Or you are not here? We remove you. We had other people. We have more than 100 people on the.
Yes, I am. Can I go next?
Daniel, go ahead. Then Prof, you'll come. Prof, Bet. Then informed, and that way back to you, Majandril. Go ahead, Daniel.
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And first of all, just to pass my condolence message to those who've lost their lives so far in the demos. I think there have been very peaceful demos and very fruitful demos. And I think, in my view, we should continue demonstrating to make sure that our voices are heard, and most importantly, that we achieve our ultimate goal. Now, in terms of the way forward, I think there are so many things that need to be sorted out, but one that is quite close to my heart is regarding our martyrs, the people who've died fighting for our freedom, fighting for our rights, trying to reject the finance bill, and many other deaths in 2017, 2013, 2007, etc. And we've always forgotten them. I think there needs to be a way of having public records that show every person who was killed by any regime, be it Ruto's regime, Uhuru's regime, or Kibaki's regime, instead of just, in a few months forgetting about them and moving on as if nothing happened. In fact, if we can have a remembrance day like the 25th of June every year, where we light up candles, we walk around with all their photos, I think that will be very, very important. Now, the second thing I have to say is we've done very, very well as a country. Everyone out there is talking about Kenya. I'm based in London, and the other day we were talking about the UK elections, and even before I said a thing, someone said, look at what Kenya is doing. That for me was a very proud moment, because it shows what we are doing is impacting everyone across the globe, and we are being heard and listened out there, and people know that we are doing the right thing. Now, in terms of going forward, I think the most important thing is having a clear end in mind. And I think so far we have a very clear end in mind, which is Ruto must go. And I think in all the spaces I've joined, I think that one is very clear. The question that we are not answering, or we are not very clear about, is when and how. People are talking about military. People are talking about he must leave tomorrow. But if he leaves tomorrow, as an example, what next? If military take over, do we believe that once the military take over, we're going to have a transition? Or the next guy who's going to come? Because remember, when the military takes over, in my view, I think we suspend the constitution. Now, once we suspend the constitution, it means the next guy could come in and decide to rule for as long as he wants. And therefore, for us to kick that person out as well, we would still have to go back to the streets, kick him out, and we could start a cycle that may not come to an end. However, there's also the scenario that we could kick out this guy tomorrow or the day after.
I don't want to cut you short. If you can land 2 minutes, is good, because you have 100 people requesting still, man.
That's okay. Let me summarize.
We have been here more than 6 hours. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I'll just take 30 seconds and summarize. So in my view, I think we must sit down and think about all scenarios. A scenario where he goes tomorrow and things work out. A scenario where he goes tomorrow and we get to a cycle of many other push to kick out the next guy and the next guy. A scenario where we think we want to remain within the constitution, mobilize ourselves, plan for the next 3 years, and kick this guy out through the right channel, that is in an election in 2027, having vetted everyone else who comes in, all the way from the MCA to the MP to the governor to the senator to your president. I think all those scenarios must be considered, the pros and cons discussed, and we go with the most optimal solution, most optimal approach that will make sure that we remain peaceful within the constitution and we minimize loss of lives. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Guys, let's stick to 2 minutes each. And as already said by many people, the military takeover is not an option. So let's not put it under discussion. Again, I'll just emphasize that it's a very dangerous path, as the speaker before has just mentioned, and many other people. So that's not what we're discussing here, because otherwise we're going to be wasting time discussing things that we don't even want as option. Prof, then Hilary, you check your inbox. We see when to close. Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I just salute everybody. I'm very proud of what Kenyan is doing. Thank you for the host and the co-host and everybody, speakers and listeners. Let's come together. Just two things. The first, we remember Sri Lanka, all right, in 2022. They began a protest. They didn't give up. Their goal was get out of the seat. And when the man left, a new election was fixed. I think that's the way forward for Kenya. That's the first point. We have to remember what other countries did. Very important. The number two is the united people around, a shared purpose. And that purpose is related to the first one, which is this man, Ruto, go away. When he goes, transition, and the next election is being called upon. And tied to that, all the political leaders in Kenya, their list need to be compiled. During this protest, we'll be calling out their names. We want to see you in the forefront. If you really want us to vote for you, don't just hide somewhere. During an election, you come up right here. We don't want that. So, example, in Spain, just recently, this year, another developed countries, opposition leaders went forefront in every protest. And this is exactly what Kenya must do. And other countries will copy and emulate or whatever. And the last point is that about the dead, just 30 seconds. About the dead, please let's remember them. Let's compile their names, and we'll be sending wish their families, and that will encourage other people to keep fighting. We must not give up. We must win. Thank you very much.
1 minute again. What's the feedback from Nigeria? How are the people perceiving what's going on in Kenya? In 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I don't live in Nigeria, right? Exactly, but that's a good question. You see, I think Kenya is a role model right now. Okay, that we shouldn't. I don't have the time, and then that's why I'm very excited that Kenya wins. All right, this Ruto goes away, and then constitutional reform will be up, and the list of all these guys are the great brains, in diaspora within Kenya will rise up and will fix Kenya. When Kenya rises, other countries will emulate.
Thank you so much. I see that Honorable Dismas Baraza is here, but actually politicians are being deplatformed. But because you want to...
Dismas Baraza should leave. We don't need him here.
We want to... Can I speak?
No, guys, you know what? Let the co-host and the host control the meeting, and that one will be in order.
Thanks.
When you start doing that, then we are making a lot of noise that will not make sense. Imagine, go ahead.
Yes. So now, like I said, at the moment, Kenyans, due to what is going on, they're actually deplatforming politicians. They're not giving them a podium. But I want to respect your freedom of speech in the Constitution. That's why I give you the mic, but do take 2 minutes to let us know how the abductions are going to stop. Dismas, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, please proceed.
Yeah, Mheshimiwa, go ahead. Sema.
Yeah, I think we are having an engagement to ensure that if there are people who are breaking the law, the police should follow the law in apprehending them. It's something which concerns all of us, and I think we have a conversation that the police should enforce arrests within the confines of the law, and they should not do it in a manner that goes against human rights. And second thing is that we will want to have suggestions on how government or rather parliament we can engage with this Gen Z population on issues that can take our country forward without necessarily raising animosities and where in some situations where properties are destroyed, understanding that there are very many people in this country who have actually spend their fortunes to put up businesses, and it doesn't make sense for them to be brought down in one way. And we should all understand that we only have one country called Kenya. We don't have another country, and Kenya will march forward if all of us comes together to use our intelligence, to use our wisdom, to use our experience, to use our expertise for the betterment of our country. But we appreciate what all you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. So on the first point that I asked, what is going to happen about the abductions, you're telling me that the criminals, if there's somebody who's doing something wrong, the police should arrest them. But what I'm talking about is actually the abductions that even the president has on national TV not condemned. We want that to stop. We are not Uganda. We are not Uganda.
I want to tell you that.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'll give you the time to speak. Now, point number 2. You're talking about looking for a channel to address the Gen Z. They gave you the mandate. Why weren't you doing it until now? And that is what I'm shocked, because even the president, they're saying, yeah, Gen Z is part of the population. They gave you a mandate. What is the Kenya Kwanza portfolio saying about youth development? Which funds are you people allocating? You people have failed. And then you're coming here telling us you're looking for ways to reach the people you're supposed to be reaching in the first place. Because what is making them upset is the lack of employment in the country. These people do not have jobs. Yeah. And when you look at it, and I sound like I'm lecturing you, but I'm not lecturing you. It's just the rage there. And the lack of it. If you can still come here and tell us you're looking for ways to engage with the with the Gen Zs, why weren't you engaging with the electorates in the first place? That is the most absurd statement to even come from a leader. You people were supposed to be doing, and they have taken the mandate from you guys. You should know when they were being shot down and they were falling and getting up again. The mandate is gone this month. I'm not even going to call you honorable. So leave this space as you know that Kenyans are not going to take the killings. Alfred Keter was abducted today. So I'm telling you, who do you think you are? You're going to be abducted next. The monster you people are feeding is going to come and bite you. We want to respect the constitution, but we want to tell you, with all due respect, this much as you come here, respect the people. When you people went for a press conference, the first press conference where, in fact, that was a press conference where you people were sharing the amendments. In your own press conference, you had 10 minutes delay. That is how disorganized the Kenya Kwanza government is. 10 minutes. Kidogo, president anakuja na chuna mtu huko, what is it called? The chicks. What is that all about? Don't take us for fools. Don't take the citizens for fools. And then what happened again, some of the amendments that you people were telling us about, that were non-brainers. Yeah, non-brainers. And that you were given a mandate. You were told to go and vote no. Then you people go and vote something else, where it is the citizens who gave you the right. So now I'm not going to give you further airtime on the space. I'm going to just let you know that the Gen Zs out there, not only the Gen Zs, but us as citizens, even us in the diaspora, we are not taking it anymore. And that is why you saw all those demonstrations. I can tell you that at least 7 towns in Germany demonstrated. Yes.
I think we need to let Didmas go. We are having another discussion. It's not our place to tell him how to do his job. If they failed, they need to go. Let's move on, please.
Yes, and I, as a citizen here, I'm going to tell them, and that is why he needs to understand. I'm telling him the diaspora is also going to push back. That revenue we're not going to send. Why should we send money when you people are killing our people? So please leave as we continue. You're supposed to go and do your work.
And again, Marge, sorry for interrupting. Why did he decide to threaten people from other communities to leave Kimilili? Please let him answer that.
Yes, please, that you can answer.
Marge, I have not threatened anybody to leave Kimilili. Kimilili is a cosmopolitan constituency.
Let's stick to the
Those are
topic.
part
Let's
of
stick to the
propaganda
topic.
that were being fueled by some
No,
individuals.
let's stick to the topic.
He should leave.
Sorry, I've muted everyone. Let's stick to the topic. The questions that Marge has raised, they're critical to all the Gen Zs. And I just want to add one thing. The Gen Zs that you're meeting on the side shows, the Gen Zs that want to talk to you guys, just find them on the space. The ones that you're meeting on the cross streets or whatever places that you're meeting them, those are not the Gen Zs. We just need an equal Kenya. We just need equal treatment to everybody. We need equal education. We need equal medication. We need equal everything in Kenya. Marge, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much. I just the audacity is that was what really actually disappoints me, and that shows that these people are not listening at all. They're not listening. You know, you asking. We should really, as a community, think about the way forward to go. And the point that I was putting across, and I know that others are also listening. You people come here. You go to Dallas. You organize something. You go where you come. All no, we're not putting up with that. We're not putting up with that. We want human rights respected. We want really the constitution followed. We are listening that, because really, as said, Kenya is not only our country, but Kenya is very important for the region. Beryl, who was next?
Now, I just wanted to add on to what you said, because there's no way you're coming to the space and the first statement that is coming from your mouth is talking about properties that have been lost. You're not talking about the lives that have been lost. How many lives have we lost? Is it worth more than the 20 million they're talking about?
Can I speak now? I'm not sure who's next.
Okay, guys, I think we're losing focus. Let us focus again. What is way forward, Prof? I want to say this, guys. I think Baraza. I just think he has a right. Remember, you gave him a mic, but we were asking him way forward. I didn't answer that question. I think we just give them time. We hear what they're saying.
He cannot answer. Hillary cannot answer because they are used to being called Washemiwa and honorable. Let them do the honorable thing by taking the mandate to come here as a leader and say you want to talk to the Gen Z. Seriously, that is disrespect. Back to you, Hillary. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let us, Prof, go ahead. Prof, your hand is up.
No, I think Prof was done. So we go to.
I've raised my hand for a while.
Sorry,
Sandra, go ahead.
who is speaking?
Sandra.
Okay, go on.
Sandra, hi. How are you? So I have listened to this conversation, and you have asked about the way forward. I'm not going to go into what has happened and what is happening. My thinking is the way forward, because these guys keep talking about how they don't know what we want as this movement, and I try to move away from calling it a Gen Z movement, because it's not a Gen Z movement. The only thing is the Gen Zs are the ones who amplified the voices of the Kenyan people. So my thing is, because even from this interview today, the main thing that was not addressed is why we were on the streets in the first place. Why were we on the streets? It's not about if I have 45% of my payslip going to the government, what is it doing? Like, what is it working for? So my issue is, what is the expenditure of this government? And that's something that they seem to think that we don't have a voice on. And my way forward is actually billboards. Let's put billboards all over Kenya that tell people that these are the things that people want to do, that you can't have unconstitutional offices all over the country. You have the prime secretary, his wife, the first lady, the second lady, the first daughter. Like, all these offices have such huge budgets that would be going to places that actually have worth in this Kenya. Education, JSS teachers, just the other day, they were not, none of their contracts were renewed. Doctors, the intern doctors have not been posted. And I'm asking myself, if I'm going to give, I have no problem with giving 45% of my salary. I actually don't. But it has to be actually going to something. Like, it has to be going to something that actually makes sense. So if they don't know what our manifesto is, because that is exactly what it is. They have a manifesto, we have a manifesto. So let's blast it all over this Kenya, on news, on the news, on the billboards, on the radio, everything. All the money that we're going to crowdfund towards, let's put it towards making sure that these people know what this movement is about. It doesn't have to have leaders. We all know what we're talking about. We're all professionals. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're accountants, everybody. So if just yesterday 15.5 billion was lost to e-citizen, let's figure out where that money is going to. Who is it going to? It can't be lost and it's just going to thin air. So that's what we need to start moving towards. There's no one who wants to destabilize the government. There's no one who wants to move to a military government. We're not trying to move to Sri Lanka, to Bolivia, to Sudan. We're not trying to do that. Kenya has been stable for years. So let's figure out how to keep it stable. We're not trying to make it worse. We're trying to make it better than it was before. And that's just what I think.
Thank you, Sandra. Madge, you can go ahead and then we give Architect, then Pluto. Madge, please, you had something to say.
No, I'm just saying we're closing at the top of the hour. So we will be adding probably only 2 people on the mic, and then we close for today. And of course, as Hilary has said, we are planning another session with the General Miguna. And there's also on Tuesday, I'll be on Citizen News with other speakers, speaking about the protests from the diaspora perspective. So that look out for that. I put that in the comment section. But it's getting late, and we've gone for over 6 hours. So we're finalizing. That's what I wanted to say. And Be Real, whom did you queue? Then we finalize.
It's Pluto, then God.